Welcome, my beautiful soul brothers and soul sisters. And welcome to my fellow Virgos. This is going to be your July. I forgot the date all of a sudden. July 2025 reading. This will be for Virgo sun, moon, or rising. I have a Virgo sun. My boyfriend has a Virgo sun and a Virgo moon. Very deep. Um, but this is also for rising. Many of you are intuitively guided, and that's your intuition speaking to you. So I am so happy that you're really paying attention to it now. I feel like more and more of us are like really trusting in our spiritual team, which is really what if there's anything I want to bring across in the readings, it's that you have a beautiful spiritual team that was assigned to you from the beginning. From the beginning, your spiritual team, your spirit guides keep growing. So, if you lose someone, often I feel like they want to step forward and be, a major part of your guidance. So, but your angels, your archangels, they haven't lived life before, but they need your permission to come into their life. I just did a podcast on our archangels, and I just felt like it was very empowering. I mean, you can let me know, but as a Virgo, um, I don't know, like I'm gonna use that energy. Some of you may be in love with the Virgo, platonically, romantically. Same thing, your guides know you're here. So be open to receiving messages for yourself. Um, this is a soul to soul reading. So you should really feel that. You can certainly ask your guides to give you signs of confirmation, but oftentimes you feel it. It could be goosebumps, many different ways. So ask your spiritual team and they will answer. Okay. What I want to say while I was pre-shuffling the cards, there's a couple things I was really picking up. First of all, I feel July is going to be an exciting month. And exciting is the word I want to use. I feel like there's going to be unexpected connections. I feel like there is going to be, in a way, I feel like we're going to be pushed outside of our comfort zone, but for a good reason. Like some of you may be adding new avenues into like an existing business. Um, it's interesting. I felt this like way back in January that a lot of Virgos were going to be extending themselves. And then I find myself doing a podcast, which by the way, I love. I'm so glad I finally did that. I finally started a course on how to learn tarot. So that's what I'm talking about when I say different avenues into an existing business. And for those who work for like the man or the woman, same thing. I feel like you're going to get these ideas or epiphanies that's going to kind of shoot you to the top. I don't know. I feel abundance. So let's go ahead and get into the reading and let's let it unfold. We will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up your reading. We're going to use the Gilded Tarot to clarify and go deeper. Death card didn't want to come up. Transformation could be an ending of a cycle. We are in the year of the Hermit, and us being Virgos, we really need to take that seriously. It's like that final reflection. We're closing out a chapter and we're opening up a brand new 9-year cycle in 2026, and it's going to be the year of the magician. So any reflection done in this year, it was meant to be done. And I literally feel like it's making decisions of what's got to go, what do you want to stay, What do you want to grow? So ask yourself these questions. Um, and mainly so when we enter into the year of the magician, by the way, I don't feel like you have to wait. When you find that final clarity, I feel like boom, you entered in the magician's energy. But I feel like 2026 is going to be powerful. So this is the year that we're getting ready for it. So anyways, we're going to use the major arcanas for the main spread. Um, One of our beautiful soul sisters, Christina, said she missed the crystal vision, and it's interesting because I don't even know why I haven't used it, but I am going to use it for your main spread in Christina's honor. But I feel it's going to be good for us. By the way, you can certainly leave comments if there's certain decks that you miss, that I used to use. She didn't even know the name. She just remembered a picture or an image, and I knew right away which one they were. So I'm happy to oblige. All right, let's open up the reading now. Well, let's open up the tarot portion. By the way, Sam's birthday is August 23rd, and mine is September 13th, just in case anybody cared. All right, Mother Mary for my fellow Virgos. We do have Mercury going into retrograde later on, but I feel like as Virgos, we know how to handle that now. We got two. Children. My heart is filled with love for children, which creates miracles and positive changes for them and me. And you know what's interesting? When I did Virgo's Archangels, um, it really spoke about children, and our ability. It's like, I feel like it's that healing energy we carry. So, children. And then we have Father. Interesting. Father. My true Father is God in heaven, who shines healing light upon me, my birth father, and our relationship. Boy, it makes me feel like there's something that's tied back to your childhood that may have to do um, with dear old dad. Good or bad, I'm not sure yet. Like I'm feeling a couple different things. I feel like there is a father who has crossed over, and I feel like, you know, when we cross over, we go through a life review. This is my belief. We go through a life review. And in that life review, and this is not with judgment, it's not like angels around us like, look what you did. No, it's so that you understand, or they, whoever, understands like their actions. How did your actions make someone else feel? Um, so you're going to feel it all. You know, like, what did I do to another? And now I just have to see it through their eyes. But, anyways, I'm getting off topic. I feel like there's a father whose biggest regret is not being around the family. This may be someone who, it's interesting. I was going to say is like a workaholic, and that may be the case, but I feel it's more like the mother and father dynamic, like something was going on there. And so then the father leaves, and feel like when the father left, the connection became weaker and weaker. And this is this father's regret. Now, you're not living with that regret because it's healed, but the understanding of it, like, I know what I've done or what I haven't done, what I should have done. I know that now. And I feel like they really want you to know that, and I just get this feeling of there were, and this could be a different father or a father figure. It could be like grandpa, big brother, but I get the sense of there were certain things that were just outside of my control. I'm speaking as them. Um, so there were certain things that were outside of my control. And even though I could have handled things differently, better, um, there's something that just seemed to have pulled me down. Now, this makes me wonder if they're talking about like someone, let's say, had alcoholism and they tried and tried and tried, but couldn't seem to kick it. Um, it could be definitely something that's followed into this, into the next generation. I hope not. Um, hmm, Interesting. I'm hearing sins of the father, but the sins of the father do not go to the children. Maybe the feelings. All right. It's interesting. I feel like I have like 100 fathers knocking at my door right now, all to give messages of some simply hello. Um, some simply want you to know that they're in the light, that they're surrounded by pure love. And we don't even know what that is yet. Well, our soul does, but like they're surrounded in pure love. I feel like whatever ailments they had are now healed. So, I feel a lot of them like have taken on this young persona, so to speak, maybe their younger self. Hmm, interesting. All right, well, let's continue. Boy, I'm sorry, I just keep getting messages because I feel like there is someone who's here right now who has said, maybe to themselves or maybe to another, that you either already have children or you're saying that when I have children, I'm going to be very attentive to them. They're going to have my time. So I have a feeling that you had at least one parent that didn't give you the time that you potentially needed. So I feel like you do not want to repeat that with your children. Hmm. I like that. I like that. I like that. And I believe you. All right. Interesting. We have the Emperor flipped around, which is the father figure. Hello. Card of Aries. He's looking over at the father. We have, well, hello, Temperance. Interesting because it's like what Mother Mary gave us. Here it is. And then we have the High Priestess, your intuition. So we have the Emperor. The Emperor to me is, or has the potential of being a great leader. And the Emperor leads through experiences. Like it's my experiences that have taught me well. And therefore, I often feel like, let's say I'm looking for a healer. Well, I'd like someone who actually has gone through what I've gone through. Not that that's a must. Um, but this emperor is waiting for something to happen, trusting in divine timing. It is interesting because I do feel like the emperor is being a little impatient. Like, I want it now. But temperance is like, but it's not ready yet. It's like temperance is saying, I'll send you a sign when it's ready through your intuition. And, I do feel like the emperor definitely listens to their intuition. And I'm not even thinking Aries, I'm just thinking of the energy of the emperor. So, some of you may be taking on a leadership role, or if you're already in a leadership role, well, I feel like something else is opening up. And again, it feels like there's nothing to fear here because temperance talks about divine timing. That means whatever coming in divine timing, it's got to be divine. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision and let's go deeper. I say this all the time, but I think it's so important that we know this. And I feel like this can really help you in life when you understand that your intuition was a gift given to you to use in this lifetime. It's like your GPS. It's like you go to a strange city, but you need to be at a certain address and you have no clue. What are you going to do? You're going to type in that address in your GPS and it's going to take you right to it. Well, that's the way I feel our spiritual team would like us to trust our intuition. All right. So, what is opening up in divine timing? Eight of Swords. Well, maybe divine timing is waiting on us. Eight of Swords, a self-created prison. It's not the Hermit. And the reason why I'm saying that is this is the energy of like isolation. This is where I'm putting barriers around me. Not boundaries, barriers. There's a difference. When you create boundaries, then you don't need these walls. When you trust your intuition, you don't need these walls. You don't need this protection. And this is really illusionary protection anyway. Some of you may have taken some time out, and that's okay. But this is also a fear based energy. And because it's self created, you are the only one who can uncreate it. And that may be what divine is waiting for. It is an eight, so it is about a new beginning. And I have to tell you, when you uncreate this prison, you're in freedom. It is freedom, baby. And you feel it. But it was created for a reason. We have interesting 88. So we have the Eight of Cups now. That tells me this Eight of Swords was created due to something emotional. Because the Eight of Cups is all about reflecting within our emotional house. But it's not about staying in that energy. I just want to look at the cups that have been knocked over, understand them, understand my part in them, because we do need to know ourselves. But this person has done that. And now they're heading towards the Nine of Cups, which is inner fulfillment and fulfillment of wishes. So I feel like temperance, divine timing. We're waiting on divine timing. Here, I feel like divine time is waiting on us. Also, 88. I feel like that's going to ring a bell for someone. I just feel it. Look at this. Nine of Pentacles. Beautiful. Right under temperance. I'll take it all day long. Nine of Pentacles. First of all, it is the card of Virgo. But this is successful self-employment. This is reaping the benefits of your hard work. And you are the main benefactor. It is hard work. However, it's worth every moment you put into it. I would not be surprised if there's a few of you, as you clear the Eight of Swords energy and you look within that emotional house, and maybe you just say no more, no more, no more, no more of being fearful, no more of holding myself back. It's like a different perspective on life. Some of you have been a single parent and you've been doing it on your own, but you are doing it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I would not be surprised if a few of you, one of the avenues that may open up to you is your understanding over, let's say, emotional energy. Maybe some of you are learning to read energy. I could see that being another avenue of what's already existing. I could see you talking about how to free yourself. We have the Knight of Swords. He looks magical in this card. This can talk about some type of communication coming in. It is coming into the reading. So to me, that means it's coming towards you. Literally coming right towards Virgo. Under the High Priestess. Some of you feel this energy before it even reaches you. This knight is coming on a white horse. And to me, that means whatever communication is connected, it's pure, it's real. So, let's see. Let's see, let's see, let's see. I also want to say, we have the beautiful Nine of Pentacles here under Temperance, which is just beautiful. And it does talk about, again, successful self-employment. But some of you may just be stepping on that path. And you may not have felt like, or maybe you felt like, what can I add? Well, it is your experiences. What can I bring to the table? I don't know that I know what I should know, but I feel that you do. We have the Nine of Swords, though I have to say, it showed in reverse. And I'm going to accept that. That's worry. So, whatever this communication is that's coming in, it is relieving worry, stress. It means that you uncreated this Eight of Swords. It means you're free. Not only free, but free of worry. Well, I'm not going to say all worry, but extreme worry. The type of worry that would hold you back. Just feels like some type of opportunity. But it could be also of a spiritual nature because I get this sense that temperance really wants you to pay attention to your intuition because this is where some signs, important signs, are going to be sent. Could be life changing. All right. So I love seeing the Nine of Swords in reverse. Nine of Swords, it is a lot of worry. It can be sleepless nights. Excuse me, just one second. Okay, I'm back. I was only gone a second. I just realized I never brought my lid down. All right, so anyway, how do I love that the Nine of Swords is mirroring the Eight of Swords, but the Nine of Swords is in reverse. So let's continue on. I want to see what this night is bringing in. We have the Queen of Swords under the Eight of Swords. You know, some of you might have felt like your voice has been stifled, like you couldn't be or say the things that you wanted to say. But I feel like that's turning around. Like I feel like you're trusting in yourself more probably than ever. You know, it makes me wonder if for some of you, you know, when we look at father and children, if you know, you could have grown up in a household where I don't know, I want to say you weren't celebrated or maybe your good qualities that you have weren't really spoken about. And I don't feel like that's the only thing, but you know, I do feel like there's a few of you, and I can't help it. It's like, it's right there. So, anyways, Queen of Swords. But I feel like this is her finding her voice again. This is her freeing herself, her voice. Maybe saying ultimately something that you've been wanting to say. We have the King of Pentacles. Interesting. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Next to, by the way, Queen of Swords can be Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And it's interesting, if let's say this Queen's a Gemini and this King is a Virgo, well, they both share Mercury. This King of Pentacles is mirroring the Emperor. And I have to say, it makes me feel like this king has had some growth. Maybe like more in an emotional way. This could be someone who, again, felt stifled. All right. We have the Two of Pentacles under the Nine of Pentacles. We have the Ten of Swords under the Knight of Swords. We have the Nine of Wands. Interesting. 3 nines now. Under another 9, but the reversal of the Nine of Swords. So, you know, it's almost like it's like a different perspective now. What all started with this self-created prison and what it needed to like dissolve it was you reflecting upon it. And in the Nine of Wands, it really is reflection. But I call the Nine of Wands person my spirit warrior because they are bold enough to look back. They do want to know themselves, the good, the bad, the ugly. And it's looking right over at the Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords is literally taking dagger after dagger in your back. I do not feel like the Knight of Swords is bringing in the Ten of Swords. If anything, I feel like it's helping you to overcome this. You could ask yourself, have you been in a repeat pattern with something or someone? Because in the Nine of Wands, you'll figure that out. Every wand behind this person is something they've accomplished, something they've overcome. It truly is what's made you who you are today, and someone you should be proud of. It doesn't mean you're perfect, but there's nobody who's perfect. We were born imperfect. And as Virgos, we need to know that, right? Because we do seek perfection. And then sometimes we're surprised when we can't find it. So it just looks like you are having a different perspective. It feels like you have freed yourself, at least mentally, well, even emotionally. I definitely feel like the Ten of Swords is not something you have any interest in, and it's mirroring the High Priestess, which is again your intuition. So let's just put it this way. When you go through reflection of the Nine of Wands, and that means you know all areas of yourself, but you know these 10 swords. You've been through it. Those daggers are in your back. It's interesting because we want to remember we're going through Cancer's energy, and Cancer's energy can bring people back. But if this is bringing someone back who caused the Eight of Swords, which caused the Nine of Swords, because of the Ten of Swords, trust your intuition. I'm not worried because I feel like the Nine of Wands is kind of like our comfort here. And Temperance would never be like, unless it's a karmic lesson you did not learn, then I don't want to go another round of the Ten of Swords, I think is what I'm trying to say. And all these nines, it's like, gives you the opportunity to reflect and then let it go, let it be. All right, we have two more. We have, well, hello, lovers. Card of Gemini. You share Mercury with them. The meaning of this card is a head over heart decision. We do have the Two of Pentacles here, so that could be part of it. But just look at these lovers. Part of learning tarot is really like paying attention to the colors, the images. It's like, I don't need to see the word the lovers. I don't know if it even says that. It does. To know that we're talking about love. And then the Seven of Pentacles. Wow. Excuse me. I say wow because when the Seven of Pentacles shows, I feel like everything that we've talked about and everything you've been through. Now, I shouldn't say everything because some things were just free will. But this to me is your tree of life. And all the pentacles on this tree are like your seeds. This isn't the greatest example of it, and it is about nurturing these seeds, but also allowing them to, let's say, this is why I often use like an apple tree as an example, because we're not going to pick an apple until an apple is ripe, right? If we have a tree that's full of apples, but there's only one that's ripe, I'm not going to go pick the one that's not. It's just going to be bitter. So, and the reason why I'm saying that is it feels like there's a couple apples that are ready for picking. This is an energy that talks about patience also. And the patience here is so that these seeds can come to full fruition. I don't want a half-baked seed sitting right next to the lovers. So, I mean, that's meant to be energy. Doesn't mean it has to be, but it's meant to be. Or let's say, well, I feel like it's something your soul probably may be seeking. And, it's the human part of us that puts all this worry around things. The soul's like, I want adventure. So I love seeing the Seven of Pentacles here, right next to the lovers. And you are in a question mode. So now I have a feeling this Knight of Swords, well, I'm not just going to say that it's a potential of love, but I feel like that's one of the things. But I also feel, again, the opportunity to open up new avenues that will produce for you, by the way. This is not just about, well, I feel like, yes, learning always. But yeah, this is about producing, like what's going to produce for you. And I mean money, I mean abundance, I mean what you need to survive. And in the Nine of Pentacles, I feel like you're doing even better than that. Okay, let's go ahead and I'm going to leave them right here. Let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. We have the Three of Wands. That's the energy of optimism. This is about living in the present moment. Something Temperance insists on. This is where your intuition reaches you in the present moment, not in the past. I mean, you may be able to look back and be like, ah, man, yeah, now I notice those red flags. But this isn't about the past. This is about the potential of what is yet to manifest. In the Three of Wands, you're really saying to divine, to source, that I trust that my gifts, my divine gifts, will come in their divine timing. Manifesting through the energy of optimism versus through the energy of fear. I mean, it's a difference of, it feels like heaven and hell. Ten of Cups underneath that. It's like, where is my Ten of Cups? Where is it? But yet you're saying in the same breath, I trust that it'll come in. I trust that my Ten of Cups will show in its divine time. All right, let's put this over there. Let's bring in the Gilded Tarot. Let's go deeper. So I do want you to notice the synchronicities, though. 88. Some of you could have been born in 88. But it can also talk about two new beginnings. And when I say new beginnings, it doesn't always have to mean like this new beginning is changing my whole life. But eventually, I feel like it does, but in good ways. So, honestly, what I feel is one of the blessings is money or an opportunity to help you make more money. And I feel another one is love. All right. Let's start at the beginning, but we're going to read it as a whole. So we're looking at these two eights, the Eight of Swords, a self-created prison, but then the Eight of Cups, emotional clarity, heading towards inner harmony, and even fulfillment of wishes. It's like karmic rewards. It's like the universe is saying, we see what you're doing. We understand what you've been through. And we understand making these changes aren't that easy, or even the reflection over it. But we guarantee you that when you truly know yourself, shadow and light, masculine and feminine, that life just becomes easier. It doesn't mean it shields you from like anything ever of a negative nature coming in. But what it does is it gives you the confidence, the ability to know what is true for you and what is not. This is the difference of creating barriers or just creating boundaries. Well, hello, beautiful sun. In the upright, or not just the upright, face up. I'm thinking, is it the sun? I didn't even look. First of all, card Leo. It's the ruler of Leo. It is masculine energy. The sun is the illuminator, though, and it's illuminating the Eight of Swords. So I can't deny it. You don't have to do anything. You can stay in that for as long as you want to stay in that. But will that help you produce the type of life that you really want? I don't think so. The sun is about a brand new day. The sun is your comfort, your warmth. The sun is at your back. It's almost like divine is almost I don't want to say, though I'm going to say it anyway, forcing you, but forcing is the wrong word. To look at that Eight of Swords. They want you to free yourself. They want you to understand that some of the things that you're worrying about, really you don't need to, because the Nine of Swords is about unnecessary worry. But I feel like you're realizing that now. With the Ten of Swords here, some of you could have certainly dealt with someone who is like narcissistic, and your fear may be, I never want to repeat that. Well, that's what the Nine of Wands is about. Understanding this energy, and then you won't repeat it. I know you won't repeat it. I just feel it. We have the Two of Pentacles. Then we have the Three of Pentacles, beautiful, coming over the Nine of Pentacles. So we have the sun, which is illuminating everything. Then we have the Two of Pentacles, so that's a question. They call it the Juggler's card. For some of you, you may be asking yourself, like, am I ready to add, let's say, love into the picture? because the question is coming over an emotional card or an emotional energy. But then we move into the Three of Pentacles right over the Nine of Pentacles. I love the Three of Pentacles because it's all about your individuality. It's about what you bring to the table. And this is where other people are admiring you because of it. Like, literally, it's about being who you are. This is your craft. And I don't care how many people do what you do. This is saying that your individual way of doing it is what piques other people's interest. Interesting. So, and you can't see it in this Three of Pentacles, but often there's someone admiring you. You don't know it, but they're admiring you, well, for who you are, but also what you do. I feel like some of you are artists, and I feel like you create beautiful art, but I feel like there's expression within that, like your expression. All right, keep going. Well, that didn't take long. We have the Ace of Pentacles. It did show in a reverse. I don't feel like that stops it from coming in. I feel like what it's saying is, if the Eight of Swords isn't uncreated, then what's the sense? Like, what's the sense? Because this is talking about something that's coming into your physical world. And over the Knight of Swords, where I feel like, again, purity. So, let's turn that around. And you know what else is interesting? I feel like for a few of you, you may have been connected to someone who may not have believed in, what's the word, like what you do. Maybe they don't get it. Maybe you're doing something spiritually and they're more into the humanness. So they don't quite understand. But that's okay. Because I feel this sense of my talents being stifled. But that doesn't mean they've gone away. It just means they've been stifled. And I feel like for some of you, like this Ten of Swords, I feel like I know it's already happened. And it can be a repeat pattern. But I do feel some narcissistic energy with that. So, Temperance, which is talking again about divine timing. This Ace of Pentacles, let's say it comes in, but you're in the Ace of Swords, and you're still connected to this hard energy of the Ten of Swords. Would someone else just try to take that pentacle? When that pentacle is meant for you? Is that why it's in reverse? That's kind of what it feels like. Like, I couldn't bring in this pentacle for you because the timing wasn't right. You wouldn't have used this pentacle for all that it promises had you still been in the Eight of Swords. So that makes me want to flip this around now because that's what I feel you're doing. All right. We have the Page of Swords. mirrored by the sun. Um, Age can certainly be younger energy. Interesting because we have the Page of Swords, the Queen of Swords. Can talk about one's growth. Page can also be someone back in the day, can be you back in the day. Maybe you've really been honing your communication skills. I feel like someone is offering you an opportunity, or it's just going to show in some way, like something's going to pique your interest. And I feel like you're going to follow it. And that, I feel, turns into the potential of a new avenue. Look at that, Seven of Pentacles again. Hello, Seven of Pentacles next to the Lovers. Now the Seven of Pentacles with the Sun above it. You know what I feel like, Virgo? I feel like that Eight of Swords, that self-created prison, it is our humanness that creates it. But I get this feeling that this is something that this is a challenge that your soul wanted, which means your soul knew. Well, I shouldn't say knew, but I do feel like your soul, and I know some people are going to be like, why in God's name would my soul want hardship? Well, because it's what teaches us. It's where we find our growth. If everything was always in the light, would we appreciate the light? I also feel like now that we have two Seven of Pentacles, it's also tying the Lovers together. I feel like using your voice for good is also important. I don't know why. I feel like I'm going slow. Why am I going so slow? All right. Well, I have to say, if one of the lovers is the Emperor, who, if we, I don't want to say forget the earlier messages because those messages were for someone. But I also feel, I feel like one card can give us many different messages. But I also feel our spirit guides like have many messages. So the lovers mirroring the emperor, that is a very good sign because this is someone who, in the upright really does have their shit together. This is someone who is compassionate and empathetic. There's someone who wants to help the underdog. They are methodical. They like putting plans in place. But I feel like the main thing here is this is someone who I feel like will not only stimulate your mind, but stimulate much more. If you know what I mean. All right, keep going. Hello, star. Look at that, in line with the lovers, the emperor, the eight of cups, and the king of pentacles. Card of Aquarius, first of all. But this is about your hopes, your dreams, your wishes. And I love the fact that it's touching the Eight of Cups. Because literally, when I free myself from any, let's just say, limiting thoughts, whatever they may be, whatever reason you created this prison, when you free yourself, and you can, and I feel like you will, then it feels like these dreams, these wishes start to flow. I knew one of them was love, and I knew one of them was money, and they're both here. And then the Four of Swords, beautiful, healing. Healing past chapters. I feel like this is something we also have to get used to. Healing is not about like a one-time thing. It's healing every time we go through, like one chapter ends. Let's take a moment. Let's just reflect. Let's heal what we can heal, and what we can't, let's let go of. There's three swords that are piercing, that are really over the heart. But there's one sword that we lie upon, and that's our own truth. And let me tell you, I feel like I want to say, or I want to give you the title of the healer. If you look at this through, let's say, a different lens, a spiritual lens, and I understand the things, like especially the hardships that I've gone through, even the people that I got stuck in their webs. Then I freed myself, right? I cleared old energy. That, to me, is a major sign to the universe that you're ready and open for new. And in the Three of Wands, which is on the bottom of the deck, you're not putting a whole lot of like what something must be. But let's say I'm putting intentions out there about love. Well, what I would recommend is saying what's important to me, whoever comes in, that they be loyal, that they be truthful, that they be someone whose morals matches my morals. That they would be someone that I can not only look up to, but that I could see creating a life with. Let's not forget, we have the Ten of Cups under there. All right. We have, well, hello, full. Over the Ten of Swords. Perfect place. Goodbye, Ten of Swords. Goodbye, whoever put those daggers in your back. And then the Seven of Cups. So you have energy that's coming in, and then it leaves it up to you. Each and every time it leaves it up to you. The Star, which is connected to the Lovers, with the Two of Pentacles. Do I or don't I? Again, I feel like, especially for Virgo, it is about using one's logical mind and not the fear-based mind. The Ten of Swords, and then the Fool comes out. Brand new beginning. The Fool doesn't bring the past along for the ride. The Fool's extracted the wisdom and then is ready for whatever adventure lies ahead. When I think of the Fool, I kind of think of like children, like free and clear and unencumbered. taking chances. As it relates to love, I feel like the biggest hurdle, if you've overcome the Ten of Swords or left it, let's say, maybe one of the biggest hurdles is to trust what is coming in next. There's a lot of times we're in relationships, we think this is my person, this is my forever, and then something happens and we just disconnect. And it's okay to disconnect for a while. But to think that that is our only person, well, number one, we have more than one soulmate. And soulmates have different reasons. Not all soulmates are romantic. They can be your father, your children, your best friend, your local butcher. It's funny, I always use that, your local butcher. Does anybody still go to the butcher? I know we do. And it reminds me of the Brady Bunch, like Alice. Um, if I remember correctly, the man that she was seeing, he was a butcher. So, anyways, I don't know why I keep bringing that up. All right, let's keep going. Let's look at the lovers and the seven of pentacles, who again are in line with the emperor and temperance. The high priestess is just asking you to use your intuition all around here. As the ace of pentacles comes in, and that does mean it's coming into your physical world. It puts you into the fool's energy, which is great. Some of you are healers, but you may be afraid of taking that initial step into maybe creating something, whether it be like a channel or a business. Well, my channel, like to me, my channel is also my business. Though I also do at home business. But anyway, I just feel like, the things that I was afraid to do before, I'm now having more clarity. And maybe just understanding that, some of these difficult lessons may be exactly what makes you a great healer. That's what other people will say. Oh my. Ace of Wands, passion ignited. It's go time. We're looking at the lovers and the seven of pentacles. So, this isn't yesterday's news. This is today's news. Remember, at the Fool's energy, brand new. Though I can't leave off the table that for some of you, because, many of you know Sam and I's story, like we were teenage lovers and then broke up and then 40 years later got back together. So I can't ever leave that off the table. But then I have exes where I know I would never take back. Anyway, there's something special here. There's something different. There's something different than your normal loves or the people that you've been loving. There's just something different. Something special. Something special. Two aces, the star, The sun. I mean, the sun's going to illuminate everything for you. It illuminates your path. Trust your intuition. It simply feels like when you free yourself, everything starts to change. Everything starts to change. If you feel like you've had like this dark cloud over you and you're willing to examine, let's just say your life or the last chapter or the last love, but being truthful, and what I mean by that is, well, we want to know ourselves in love, but also being truthful of like, maybe I thought someone was my one and only, but I feel like this feels like your person. But look what you had to go through to get to this energy. And I shouldn't have said it like that. It's not what you had to go through. Because honestly, if we look at it from a soul's point of view, we would be proud of ourselves here. Like, man, I was in that Eight of Swords. I was stuck in that energy, and then I freed myself. How did I do that? Through reflection, help from my guides, real clarity, and then watch what happens. Two, Seven of Pentacles. These lovers are meant to be together. All right. Trying to think, is there anything I want to look at? Um, let's look at the Ace of Pentacles. This coming over the Knight of Swords. And by the way, which has the Nine of Swords reversed. So it could be this knight that's bringing this pentacle that helps ease this worry. Interesting. Four of Cups. Four of Cups talks about discontentment or boredom in one's emotional life. Not the rest of your life, just really in an emotional way. The meaning of this card is learning to use your spiritual discernment, but I want you to notice what's coming in. A cup. So even though we don't have the Ace of Cups, this feels like the Ace of Cups. It's coming from the hand of divine. Here's the cups that were. They're not looking at them anymore. In the Four of Cups, you'll either see someone where their focus is still on these old cups, or they're looking directly at this new cup. I'm looking at the Ace of Pentacles. And the Ace of Pentacles means what's coming into your physical world. So not only do I feel like it's bringing opportunity, love, and then the Knight of Wands, passion. This can be fast moving. And if you're uncomfortable with that, slow it down. But I feel like the passion, I mean, we can kind of see it in the lovers. That's passion, my friends. That's chemistry. So the Knight of Wands would make complete sense. And remember, again, every knight will complete their mission. And I feel like the knight is sent by the queen or the king, the emperor or the empress. Wow. So it's like now we have three aces. Okay. So I think what I want to do is I want to look at the star that's looking right at the sun and then has healing on the other side of it. With these two Seven of Pentacles, I just feel like this just feels like divine timing for love, but also this feels like an accumulation of everything you've learned. And now it's like oh, um, wow. I don't know if you could hear that, like someone's rum, 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 rum. Anyway, I forget what I was saying, but let's look at the sun. Sometimes I feel like these little interruptions are meant to happen just to get me back to what I was originally doing. Wow, hello world. Hello next chapter. Come on. This is serious. This is beautiful. Why is it beautiful? Because it's coming over the star connecting to the sun. That means your next chapter. This is the next chapter. That means something has completed for the world to show. And this is a very spiritual time. And the person in the middle of the world is the foal. You have the foal right here. Remember how I said we're in the year of the hermit? But we don't have to wait to take on the magician's energy. I feel like this is you knowing that now. It's interesting when I said now, I was thinking, oh, I shouldn't have said that because I feel like my Virgos already know so much. But this is a very spiritual time. This is when your spirituality and you walk hand in hand, and anybody with you. I almost don't know what else we could ask for. I'm not going to say everything's going to be perfect. Boy, do I feel like this is a time when you are enjoying life. Doesn't mean that, again, there's not hard work, but I feel that you're loving what you do. And then like I feel like you're going to get some type of validation that, and this may be it right now, that you're on the right path. And whatever opportunities may show, sure, stop and think about them. Don't overthink them because I feel like they're just meant to be. Like this is the right time. And let's say that you are a healer and you want to you want to have a business or you already have a business, but you want to add in new avenues or your guides are going to pique your interest. You're going to start following that. And next thing you know, that's the next avenue you add in. So feels like there's no limitations upon you. The only limitations were the Eight of Swords, but it feels like that has now been lifted. All right. I'm going to bring in the clarifying love situations. This deck doesn't just talk about love. That's why I use it more and more. Like, I still haven't seen all the cards yet. When I get a new deck, I don't look at the images. I wait until I see them with you because I want them to spark my intuition. All right. So, Virgo, it looks like you're rolling in the money, and it feels like love is rolling in. We have faith's haven. Believe in the safety of your return, as every journey leads back to comfort. Interesting. Interesting. All right, let's take what's face up first. We have reassembling ruins from shattered pieces. Gather strength to rebuild what was once broken. And then we have Spirit Speaks. Seek wisdom in prayer, but also have an open dialogue. I feel like that's so important. I talk to my guides all the time. I mean, like literally all the time. So don't be afraid of doing that. Excuse me one second. Okay. Um, let's go ahead and bring out the romance angel since we have the lovers. The two seven of pentacles, which again, I feel like this is a love that, let's just say, was, chances are, predestined. And this just may be the right time. Why would this be the right time? Well, because I feel like both of you are much more spiritual. I feel both of you carry healing abilities. So it was probably important that both of you had your individual experiences so that when you come together, you come together in a much, what's the word I want to use? Like whole, like you're whole. And again, it doesn't mean all elements of you are healed. But listen, sometimes love can help heal those last broken pieces. We do that for each other. All right. Someone from your past is returning to your life. The signs are cautioning you. Pay attention to the red flags. Look at this. Past life relationship. You have known each other before. That makes sense. And then trust. This situation is calling for you to have faith. Faith seems to be the word. So I feel like this is one thing, this is another thing. Now, I do feel like when we have dealt with someone who has, let's just say, narcissistic tendencies, like maybe like they couldn't love you in the way that you deserved, but they don't want anybody else to love you. So, just be careful of that because sometimes these people do return. It's like, wait, what? She's what? She's seeing someone else? Well, I don't want that. So they may come in and, try to win your heart back, but I feel like there's no chance. And I love pay attention to the red flags because we spoke earlier about red flags where I felt like in our younger years, we ignore a lot of them. But now I feel like, you will see them. You will see them. So don't be surprised. Like I said, in Cancer's energy, a lot of times it can bring people back. Well, this is not someone I want back, but this is someone I do. This past life relationship. That definitely means you're soulmates, if not twins. And honestly, it's like there's such little you need to do other than free yourself and put your intentions out there And then trust, right? Keep your mind active and just allow the rest to flow to you. That's how it seems. Like it's just going to flow to you. Anything, again, that's of a negative nature, I know you're going to know. It's almost like we need the Empress out here because that's what I feel with you. Like there's no way you're going to cross my energetic source or my energetic force without it setting off all the alarm bells. Even here where it said, um, no, wasn't in there. I don't know what I saw. But anyways, this is what's attached to the lovers. Just have to trust. You have known each other before. You've known each other forever, for eternity, and forevermore. All right, Virgo. I think I'm going to leave it there. Um, I feel like once we get past the hump, or for some of you, once you free, when I say free yourself, it doesn't have to mean like I'm leaving a house or I'm leaving a job. I feel like it's more about the thoughts, like the way I'm thinking. And let's face it, we can overthink. But because that Eight of Swords is mirrored by the reversal of the Nine of Swords, where that is a lot of worry, something is easing that. And it is starting with you, but the sun is illuminating to you where you can set yourself free and therefore really enjoy your life and enjoy what feels like it wants to be offered. And for those who have healing capabilities, which I really feel we all do, but it's something you focused on. And let's say you wanted to start a business, but you haven't. Well, this would be the time. But it doesn't even matter if it's your own business because I feel like what this is saying is there's just going to be opportunities to increase your finances. And maybe it's in whatever way that you want to use it. And then love. Love, love, love. I know a lot of people are like, why are your readings always love readings? They're not just a love reading. They're a life reading. But love does seem to, most of the time, be part of it. Now, how long is it from here to the lovers? I think that depends on you. Because the Eight of Swords is the beginning and the ending. If I free myself, well, that just opens up the floodgates. If I don't, then in a way I'm kind of doomed to stay in the same energy. Doesn't mean the next chapter won't open. It just means you're pulling all this old energy with you. And is it now going to be part of the next 9 years? That's what you want to ask yourself. All right, I'm going to let that be. I love you guys. I always love doing your reading, not because I'm a Virgo. I guess maybe I just get it so well. And I don't know. I feel honored to do your reading, to be honest. So I thank you all. I love you all. Um, I will connect the podcast I did. It's actually a video. With your archangels because I feel like there's some really good prayers on there. I don't even know if you'd say prayers, but you know, how you can talk to our archangels and ask for their help. They're standing by. All right, guys. Love you. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.